Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and today I'm going to be giving you a little studio tour. Emphasis on the word little. I live in New York City, so space is quite limited. I'm very fortunate to have a room, since so many of you have asked me to see a larger view of some of the pieces that I demonstrate stitches on. I thought I would just walk around with a handheld tripod and show you some of them. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Once you hit the subscribe button, a little bell should show up. And if you click on that, you'll get an email notification of when the next video is being posted. I love hearing from you. Tell me anything you feel like. The more comments and interactions I get, the more YouTube then recommends this video to other people who may not know that it exists, which then helps me in my rankings on YouTube. Please don't forget to check out the description section. It's where I put links to anything and everything that I use within a video. For this video in particular, since I'm not going to be stitching or using actual tools, there will be links though to my Etsy shop, my blog where art and life meet. I would love for you to join me there. It's where I write about whatever's going on to do with art and the creative process, as well as if you're on Instagram or Facebook. All those links are there, as well as my jewelry. You can also go and look at the jewelry that I design. Come with me and let's tour. I'm going to show you my little workspace. This piece is Beyond the Garden. It was a piece I started in a landscape workshop that I took at Sue Spargo's office in Ohio. And I put a little zipper in because I wanted to show there are always layers of things. Whatever we see, there's layers. This piece is called Indigo Vases. It's a workshop that Sue Spargo does where she gives everyone a template for the 9 vases, and then we apply them and embellish and fill them with flowers that we create. So I've used this piece in a number of my demonstrations, and you'll see here, this is the bullion tendrils that I showed. This is my crested chain that I showed. These are my folded hexes. These are the raised leaf stitch and bees. This whole vase I did as a result of my running stitch and back stitch and its variations video. These were examples that I showed when I did my tuffet video. Up here I did, this is my Italian knotted border stitch, and I showed an example of it using this oriental linen. So little by little, these are my hexes. So each vase, I chose something to focus on. So this vase is filled with hexes. This vase I did a couple of examples of embossed velvet, and the vase itself has embossed velvet. This vase is filled with ribbon flowers. This vase I did English paper piecing flowers, which is a video I'm going to be demonstrating and doing next week. There's a folded hexie, as well as the tuffets, and that's a folded hexie. This vase I did yo-yos and folded hexes, and then my little bird, which I fussy cut. This vase has a variety of different things. There's a fussy cut flower here, and then this crazy, the woven picot with a Dorset button in the middle, and a folded hexie with another little button. I'm going to do a video of how to do both of these in the coming weeks. So obviously this is nowhere near finished. I keep working on it little by little. There's just an endless amount that I can do and will be doing to it, and it's a lot of fun. This piece is one that I started in Tucson at one of Madeline Island School of the Arts workshops with Sue. Tell Me a Story. And so I decided, I had no idea going into this workshop what I was going to do. I just started playing with fabric. I knew I wanted something kind of cheerful. And slowly this began to take shape. And I decided at some point in the workshop that I was going to make mine Central Park in New York City, which is my home. And so I included animals from the zoo. There's the penguin. There's one of the monkeys. There's I think it's called a red-tailed panda. I can't remember. Then I've got a little part of the boathouse with a dog. And then I started to go a little rogue and put a bike tire that's locked, but the bike is missing to show someone has stolen the bike, which is pretty typical here in New York City. Horse carriage with one of the ubiquitous pigeons that New York City is known for, with one of the horses that draws the carriages. I love stitching on this, but it is a huge piece and I have not done much. However, I did do my chain stitch here of my tree trunk and then covered my squirrel in seed stitches. He's very fat, isn't he? And then my dog with the Italian knotted border stitch and the closed fly stitch here, and these are Palestrina knots and turkey work for his eyebrows and little buttons for his eyes and a satin stitch for his nose. And then my tree, which is covered in bullion knots. So much fun. It's such fun to explore the different stitches that one can use to get different looks. This is a bag that I made, and the pattern is actually in my Etsy shop. I played around with different bags, and this one is my abstract bag, and here's the back with a piece of ribbon. And I made this little zipper so that the whole thing is lined with little tabs for my zipper, which I love. I love that little detail. Fully lined on the inside. And this is quite a large bag. That is how big that bag is. It's large. Here is my creative stitching book and my sketchbook. They both fit easily in here. This will fit a large iPad, even at one of the small computers. And then the other pouch I did was this one, which is so much fun. And I put soft and stable in here in just the bottom part, so that it can stand on its own. And then the wool part is all stitched, and I made a little tassel, and there's my little tabs for my zipper, which I explain in the instructions. The instructions for both of these is about 17 pages because I include detailed photographs for everything that I do, and how to sew the zipper in, everything. You can see they fit nicely. So it's a big size travel bag, and I love these to travel if I'm going somewhere on an airplane, which hopefully one day we will do at some point, is travel again. I put my project with all of my things, book, sketch pad, my various notions. And then this one is even it's about an inch larger. Both of these are in my Etsy shop, and download the pattern, the templates, the pattern, all the instructions and everything you need to make the bag. I'm gonna have to post a photograph because it's huge. It's about, I want to say 85 inches by something like 68, something like that. This is all fabric that I painted. I did stenciling and monoprinting on, and low immersion dyeing. I pieced them together and then quilted them, and it goes down a bit farther than I can even show by a couple of inches. But this is my very messy work table with Merlin in his favorite place. This is his absolute favorite place to be. There's my sewing machine underneath, and this is one of those koala cabinets, by the way. Amazing. Love this thing. Boy, I put off getting one of those forever, and then I just took the plunge, and I'm so glad I did. It has a mechanical lift, so I take the top off where Merlin's sitting. That comes off, and my machine can be brought up. So this is just one of the big pieces. The other piece is actually in back. You can see it layered sort of behind it. this one. And I can show a photograph of that one too. I just don't have enough space to display all of this, but you can see how I machine quilted going along the lines of the paint to accentuate. Over here is my Cookies Delight quilt. This began as an idea as a block of the month. There are 12 blocks. And I was obviously very inspired by Sue and used all of her techniques of layering and wool and embellishing. And actually, this I have written, it's about 90 pages of instructions on how to make this. There are a couple colors here, this one in particular that I dyed myself, and also this pink, and the magenta over here. And so Sue has been trying to replicate those, but there's been a lot of stuff that she's also having to deal with, and so things have kind of gotten waylaid. In any case, at some point I will put this in my shop as well. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just say, get a chartreuse green, because everything else is all finished. Before I wrote all the instructions, I asked Sue for her blessing, because I felt that even though I designed each of these blocks, I'm using all of her techniques, and I wanted her approval and okay to go ahead with it. I didn't want to use all of her wonderful layering techniques and ideas without at least getting her okay. And of course she said, yes, go ahead. This is my other, it's a big piece, and it's all my fabrics that I've painted, put together, and then quilted. This one I called Hope. And the technique that I used for doing the stencil and the monoprinting and all the different, that's a wax relief in the upper right corner. And then implementing commercial fabrics as well. There's some shibori in there, low immersion dyeing. These painted fabric techniques came from a class I took with Pat Polly, who is just a wonderful teacher and does amazing work. So if you ever get the opportunity and have the interest in learning to paint your own fabrics, she's a great person to take a workshop from. This is I think it's pronounced ilium sack. It's a thread holder. This one has all of my solid and razzle and dazzle threads from Sue, and this was one of the patterns that she had. I think it was for her homegrown block of the month, because I loved it so much. I designed this one. I changed the dimensions. I made this one bigger, and this design was inspired by the Folk Art Museum in Santa Fe, and this one has all of Sue's variegated eleganza threads in all three waves, number 8, number 5, and number 3. So I hope you found this enjoyable, seeing my little studio. Don't forget to hit that like button and do subscribe. If you want to get an email notification, you have to click on the little bell to the right of the subscribe button and leave me comments and questions. All of those things help push my YouTube videos higher in YouTube rankings. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, here's to stitching together.